Yes. That's correct.
Yes, go to page 1.
Yes. I've got it.
Yes. And that affidavit, it's 51 pages. So if you go to page 51, that's the last page of the affidavit. The top right-hand, page 51, top right-hand corner. I think that's the one you are at, the one you are at now.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Except to say that I had an addendum to the affidavit.
Exactly. Some annexures to it. But go to the last page, page 51.
You have explained to him about the red and black numbers?
Yes, I've referred him to the top right-hand corner, which are the red pagination, Dr. Ngubane.
There are two numbers at the top of each page. One is red, the other one is black. When he refers to page numbers, he will be referring only to the red numbers.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
So I was asking you, Dr. Ngubane, to go to page 51, which is the last page of your affidavit. Anyway, Doctor.
The number will appear as 0051, but he will just say 51. He won't mention 00.
Okay.
Yes. Have you got page 51?
Page
51, red numbers.
I do.
You have found it. Okay.
Yes. So there appears the signature and the date for August 2020. You confirm that's your signature?
That's correct.
Thank you. So Dr. Ngubane, then you can go to the first page of the affidavit. You set out in your affidavit your qualifications in paragraph 2. And then the next page, paragraph 3, you deal with your appointment to the Eskom board. Now, could you tell the chairperson how you became appointed to the Eskom board, which, as we have heard the evidence, was the board of December 2014?
Well, there was what I would call a request for proposals issued by the Department of Public Enterprises in the public press. And at one discussion with my nephew, SABC, he was interested if I wouldn't want to contribute because of my experience in the Department of Science and Technology. Excuse me. Where I had been a minister from 1994 to 2002. And obviously, I should have a good understanding of technology and physics and so on. So I said I was interested, and then he submitted the nomination.
Yes. Dr. Ngubane, you would know that this board is one that has been allegedly referred to as the Gupta board.
Well, that was referred by Mr. Tsotsi, which I find absolutely disgusting. You know, it was an open process run by the department. We had no contact or connection or telephone conversation that from any one of the Gupta people to say, we want you to be on the board. And I presume this would go as well for all my other board members. Now, to be described as a Gupta board, I think is very, very unfortunate, particularly coming from a public figure like Mr. Zolatsos. Mr. Zolatsos himself had been accused in the press. It was the Sunday Times publication around probably 15, 16, or 18 April, which said he had leaned on the management in the procurement sector to grant Tegeta 2 mining contracts, one at 400 million rands a year, another one at 500 million rands a year. One of them was Vierfontein. I can't remember exactly the other one. And one of these mines didn't even have a proper water license from the Department of Water and Sanitation. But on top of that, at the beginning of this year, a coal contract worth 3.7 billion rand was set aside by the Gauteng North High Court. That was signed in Mr. Tsosi's time. Brian Molefe, Koko Molefe, myself, were hardly, well, I was at Eskom in December, but Molefe only came in April, so it couldn't have been him who dealt with that contract. So those are questions that Mr. Tsotsi must ask. Who did favors to the Guptas? We worked very hard with my board. We found Eskom in shambles. The report that Mr. Madonna gave us at the first board meeting on the 11th of March stated that whereas Eskom should have a buffer of 20 billion rand in order to service debt, pay for services, etc., it had been reduced to 4 billion, of which dependent on loans that were still going to come in. The net effect was that Eskom was in the red by 3 billion rand.
Yeah. May I, if I may, we will come to that.
Right.
Just give me the date of the media article you refer to about Mr. Tsotsi.
Sorry?
You mentioned the media article or media report
Yes.
about Mr. Tsotsi.
We didn't ask Mr. Tsotsi about that.
Yes, but you just mentioned it.
Yes, I do. I'm just saying, for a man who can come to the commission and say that we're Gupta board is very offensive, particularly knowing what appeared in the media.
Yes. What was the date of the article you mentioned?
Somewhere in April, I think between 16 or 18, somewhere there.
This year.
In that region.
Of which year?
This 2015.
2015.
Yes.
Now, you yourself, Dr. Ngubane, have been linked to Mr. Salim Essa,
Yes.
who is related to the Guptas.
Yes.
And would you explain to the chairperson what was or is your relationship with Mr. Salim Essa?
It wasn't a special relationship. Let me put it there. There were more than 20 companies where I'd been invited to come in as a partner, a director, and they're recorded in the the Company Intellectual Property Commission. I had known Salim from about 2011 when I was chairman of the SABC board. We used to attend the same meetings on digital migration. He was on the board of the broadband in Fraco, South Africa, which was a state-owned company. And we were preparing for migration to digital television at SABC. You know, I got to know a lot of people on that board because by those meetings. And I came to know Mr. Salim. You know, it was sort of a relationship like any other of the people I know. Then it happened that in 2013, at that time I was in a company called Global Collieries Fuel Distribution. It was a company populated by British oil people and some South Africans as well. And they'd established a subsidiary in South Africa. We were at JP's in Melrose meeting these guests when Salim appeared in the same restaurant and came over to me. And I started introducing my partners to him. And he said, well, he himself was in the oil business. Can he be part of this? So after a fair amount of discussion, my colleague said, well, we'll give it a thought. But the fact that some of them were in Mali, in West Africa, on oil business and railway business, they then suggested that if we formed another company for exploration in West Africa for oil wells, they would be happy with that. And we then met with Salim subsequent to that and ultimately came up with Gade Oil and Gas, which would be almost a service-level provider to Global Collieries Fuel Distribution. Then we agreed that Salim was going to arrange for travel to CAR, which was the Central African Republic, which had just announced that they were auctioning oil blocks. I was going to use my connections with African ambassadors to gain access to whatever was needed in that exploration trip. Of course, arranging these things takes time. In that year, there was an outbreak of violence in CAR, and our soldiers were placed there for maintaining peace and order. There was a fight, and some of our soldiers were killed. Then I went back to Salim and to my other colleagues at Global Collieries. I said, we can't go there anymore because South African soldiers were killed there. There is instability. And that's how that whole venture fell down, did not go through. And Gade Oil and Gas never then did any business in oil exploration. Later on, Mr. Essa resigned, you know, but I didn't bother to actually delist Gade Oil and Gas because, you know, it just didn't occur to me. It was dormant. It wasn't doing any trading. Now, Salim Essa, as I say, was not a special friend. I knew him, who had decided to work with him. Later on, he appeared at Eskom with Mackenzie. Mackenzie had, I think in 2015, early, had been given a contract at Eskom to manage several things. One of them was Majuba Power Station. One of them was optimizing our corporate plan. One of the other duties was to create a consultancy of young engineers at Eskom in order to cut down the expenses that we spent on consultants. So he was a familiar face at Eskom. But that did not justify any influence in terms of the work that we're doing at Eskom. So I think, Chairperson, that sums up my association with Salim Essa.
Thank you, Mr. Ngubane. But you will also know, Mr. Ngubane, that Ms. Daniels, Suzanne Daniels, who worked in your office, was charged with exchanging emails with an email address info portal. And that email address, according to the chairperson of the disciplinary hearing, it most probably belonged to Mr. Salim Essa. The exchange of emails came from your office.
Well, I think I have in the file a copy of that email. I'm not sure if you have it. I can quickly look for it.
That's just one of the emails.
Sorry?
That will be just one of the emails.
Well, the first email that came.
Yes, you can look for it.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Selega might assist in locating where it is, but if you are able to look, that's fine. Mr. Selega, you know where it is?
Let me ask Dr. Ngubane, which one are you referring to, Dr. Ngubane?
It says the first one. Does it help? Does it help to say first one? It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Okay, he will find it in his file and then he will give the date. Then we can look.
Thank you, Chair. Alternatively, I can give you the one I have, Dr. Ngubane.
Should be here.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm taking your time, Chairperson. But I think it's important to contextualize.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Just look for it if you have got it there. Then once you have got it, you tell us the date and the evidence leader can look for that one in his file.
Let me assist Mr. Ngubane. If you turn to page 51.147.
Point.
51.147. I think it starts at 51.146.
51.17.
51.147.
Oh.
Yes. Eskom bundle 9, 09 brackets A. Yeah, that's the correct bundle.
Okay, I've got 51.147.
Yes, Chair. It would appear that you have to read it with .146.
Oh.
Yes.
You said it's 17.
Yeah, 51.147. 51.147.
Yes.
No, I think I'm lost.
Should
the junior counsel can assist
Thank you, Chair.
the witness, yeah.
He's looking here for. Anyway, Chairperson,
Yes.
the first email that came from businessmen
Yes.
was
Just pull the
email.
mic closer to you. Yes.
The first email that came from businessmen
Yeah.
was addressed to Ms. Susan Daniels and copied to me. The caption went like this: comments on the chairman's media statement. At the bottom of that was the media office of Eskom.
Or media office of Eskom. Yeah.
And he said, I want to make comments on this statement. And then there were comments given.
Yes.
When I asked Ms. Daniels who was making these comments, she said it was the DG of Public Enterprises. So I said, this was this email? She said, yes. Because I knew I was going to make a public statement, then I assumed someone had passed it, had passed the draft to the Director General for comments. Because, you know, there had been complaints from DPE that we publish statements and they see them for the first time in the media. So it made sense that probably it was passed to him. So there was to and fro exchange of emails between myself and Ms. Daniels about the corrections. Ultimately, the last final correction, I just said it was all right with me. That was the essence of the email exchanges. Thank you. On that subject.
You did not succeed in locating the email in your file, eh? That first email that you wanted to look at. You didn't.
I have done so, sir.
Oh, you have. Okay. Have you got the page, the date?
Don't take it out of the file.
I guess that's just so that you can identify it, otherwise return it to him.
Thank you.
Mr. Selega, did you identify it? Do you have it?
I have I've opened to the page. We were
but have
looking
you got
for
the one that he's talking about?
Yeah,
He wanted you to see it so that you know whether you have got it.
or whether it's the same as mine.
Well, whether it's an email you have got. You said it's one of many that you wanted to refer him to. We must just know whether we've got that email or not.
Yes.
And Flora, I can
sorry.
add.
Just one second.
Sorry, Dr. Ngubane. Yes, no, this is, I will take him to the other one, Chairperson.
Yes.
This page is pulled out from the bundle before the commission. So it's exactly the same as my bundle.
Oh, I thought he pulled it from his own private file.
No.
I'm sorry. Okay, no, that's all right.
Well, it's the same as I have in my file.
Is it the same?
I just have found it.
Yes, okay, no.
Okay.
The idea was just that we know whether the email you are referring to is an email that we have got. So that if it was an email that we did not have, then copies could be made. So if we have got it, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, but you wanted to add something, Dr. Ngubane, before Mr. Selega continues?
Well, I was going to say the Director General was very supportive of Eskom and its management. I think it was prior to this email where it had written to the CEO, Brian Molive, who was having uncomfortable conversations with the Chief Procurement Officer at Treasury. He wrote to Brian and said, before you answer any questions from Treasury, from the office of the Chief Procurement Officer, you must send it to me.
Who was that?
The DG, Mr. Sedeke.
Was that Mr. Richard Silega?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, this was
Chairperson.
showing support.
I'm sorry, Dr. Ngubane. He's emphasizing that that one ends with an E, whereas his ends with an A.
There's a material difference there, Chairperson.
I suspect it's the same as Zondo and Zondi.
That's right.
Yes.
So I was familiar with his approach to Eskom. He wanted to give us support.
Okay.
I just wanted to add.
Okay, no, that's fine. Mr. Seleka.
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Dr. Ngubane, against that background you've given, one wonders why this very strange email address was used then to communicate official documentation with an official in the department.
Well,
why not use his official department email address?
Well, Mr. Seleka, I wonder whether we shouldn't first hear what the email says and so on.
Please, Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, before we talk about it, what its contents was and so on.
Yes. Dr. Ngubane, if you go back, you've closed your file.
Page 51.146. Page 51. Please assist him. Page 51.146.
You are on that page?
Yeah.
So that's... Should we consider the emails from page 51.146?
Yes.
Gmail, that appears at the top of that page, and your name there, Baldwin Ngubane, baldwin.ngubane@gmail.com. Below the line, it's I am sharing draft position statement, forward payment to Tegeta, 19 June 2016. Doc with you. And below that, it's businessman. Info portal.
Before that, Mr. Slager,
Thank you.
Dr. Ngubane, do you confirm whether that is your email address, baldwin.ngubane@gmail.com?
That's correct, Chairperson.
Yes. Is it a personal email?
Personal email, yes.
Okay, all right. Continue, Mr. Slager.
Thank you, Chairperson. Dr. Ngubane, did you have an Eskom email address when you were at Eskom?
I am?
Did you have an Eskom email address when you were at Eskom?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there a reason why the communication here appears to be from your private email address as opposed to your Eskom email address?
Well, when I came to Eskom, I would plug my computer into a gadget that Eskom had, which converted this email to Eskom email. So I wasn't so concerned because I could access my Eskom email when I was in the office. So some of the emails came directly to my private email. Some went to the official Eskom when I accessed them through the Eskom system. I mean, and every month, the IT people at Eskom changed the password on the Eskom system. So where it was probably official business, they would keep on changing the password every month. But when I'm at home, I could access my personal email. If people sent whatever to the Gmail address.
Yes. My question is, in respect of this document, I am sharing draft position statement, forward payment to Tegeta, 19 June 2016. Why was this draft position statement not forwarded from your Eskom email address?
I'm sure I could access it through the Eskom email once I plugged in my computer to their system. So I never thought about that because a lot of times documentation came through my private address.
And just to clarify, so this communication is in June 2016.
Yes.
By this time,
it's, maybe you can be precise, 19 June 2016.
yes, thank you, Chairperson. We will go into the dates of the emails. I think it ranges from 10 June 2016, 11 June 2016, and the document itself seems to be dated 19 June 2016. You confirm that, Dr. Ngubane? You follow? The email, the dates of the emails.
Yes.
It's 10 June 2016.
Right.
And there's 3 on the 10th of June 2016. Or shall I take you step by step? And there's 2 on the 11th of June 2016. Let me take you step by step.
Yeah, maybe let's do that. Go to the earliest one,
Yes,
if you can. Say who it was from, who it was addressed to, and then either you or the witness can read what the email said, and then so that we will have a full picture.
Thank you, Chair.
Can you
Okay.
find
The witness is looking for the page. And Chair, normally they are in a reverse order when they're printed out. So we will have to start from the bottom and go to the top. But you will see the dates will guide us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And junior counsel can assist him. You know, this thing of starting with
That's right.
it can be confusing.